So we're going into the kilnsman's house now, so please hurry. Just don't fall down the stairs here. So please take a seat. Take a seat there, and I'm going to have to put it there.
You know McCarty only came well, but he's some long for the job.
This will be not stop too long, because the work is great to dry as well.
Aye, nice and 3-4 acres today. We'll give him measure on this one then.
I'm going to.
Where is today, boys?
I'm going to turn this off, so I'm not competing with it. But there's a button here, so if you want afterwards, there's a 10-minute video which tells you all about the windmill. They tell you a lot I've already told you, but they also have people dressed up as millers and farmers and things. So, but I'm going to turn it off because otherwise I'm going to be competing with them. Now, we're in what is known as the kiln house. This is where the grain would have got dried. And if we look at the picture here, this picture was actually done in 1991. It depicts, basically on the left-hand side, you see we've got the sowing of the seed in the early spring. And basically that was all done by hand. A little bit later, they would have had what was known as a fiddle, so they could actually get it more evenly spread, the seed. And then in the late summer, the early autumn, they would cut the crop down with using scythes. I mean, it would all be manual work. Later they did get threshers in, which would take the stalks and all off, but they didn't have combined harvesters like we do today, so it would have been a lot of manual labour. And then the farmers would have come up to this door here with their horse and cart, and then the sacks would have been brought in here, and the sacks of the damp grain would actually be weighed here, and then hoisted up to the floor above, which will go up in a minute so you'll be able to see. And then the grain would have been laid out. You can see, if you look this way, you can see the kiln. And the kiln would have been lit, the floor above, the grain would have been laid out, and the hot air would have come up and dried the grain. It would have been about 4 inches deep, they would have had the grain, and it would have been turned fairly frequently, very constantly, very hot work. And after about 8 to 10 hours, when it was dried, the kilnsman would have sent it down one of the chutes into the sacks below. Do you see the sacks here? And then the sacks would have been brought over here and weighed, re-weighed, and then when it was the dry grain, that was when the price was agreed between the farmer and the miller. And then the miller always took a bowl for himself. It was like a tax, so he was never without grain himself. And in the early autumn, at the harvest time, when the kiln was going, young men would have come in. There was no electricity in those days, so with the lovely heat, they would have sat around there and had a bit of crack. So you can take a wee walk around there. Just watch your heads. If you do, you can go the whole way around, and then we'll head upstairs. Okay?
Is this the way the floor would have been back then, or?
I'm assuming probably, actually. It's just... I'm not actually... Just watch your head.
It's certainly very rough, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm guessing this probably was.
Yeah, I would say you're probably right, yeah.
Oh, there's a cockroach there.
Where's that?
I know.
So there is.
There was a mouse actually just going in that wee hole earlier.
Was there?
Yes.
Oh dear. There he's there. He's getting a tour.
Yeah.
So I'll give you a wee look round here, ladies and gentlemen. You sort of have to keep your head down here. You can fairly feel the wind coming through that. I'll not open that. There's some grain there.
Yes, he's sort of.
Actually, I forgot to say.
Yes.
I might bring them out.
Yes,
You're on the case. That's okay.
he's all into it.
Okay, so when we come upstairs, just watch your head and just hold on to the rail, please.
I have to say, ladies and gentlemen, that picture there is absolutely fantastic. It does really bring it to life, doesn't it? There's no doubt about it. Fantastic. I'll give you a better review of it here. Isn't that amazing? Absolutely brilliant. So I better join the group here or I'll get left behind. I don't want that. This is amazing. This is fantastic.
So, the hard work. The sack would have been hoisted up through this trap door here. Right, so the pulley system here, and then my friend Jack would have pulled the sack all the way up here, and then the grain would have been thrown in above the kiln area there on the floor. Now, if you look carefully at the floor, it's actually a metal floor, and it's got little holes in it, so the hot air flows up through it.
And who's this man's name here?
I don't know, that's Kil's going to have a name. I actually have a new name. Have you got a name for him? Because I've named this one Jack, I haven't named him. What should we call him? It's got to be a name. It's got to be a name from that age. George, you know, that's exactly what I was thinking, George.
George, that sounds good.
That's George.
So that's George.
Jack and George. Jack and George. There you go. And the chimney, you see up above, when we go outside, it's known as a cowl chimney. It's got a weather vane on it, and it turns so the smoke doesn't come back in. You'll be able to see that when we go outside. And then there's the chutes. After about 8 to 10 hours, when the grain was dried, it would be sent down the chutes side to side down here.
Can I ask a silly question?
No? See that?
Why does this go uphill this floor?
Well, a lot of people have asked me that, and my only understanding, this is what I believe, nobody's been able to say precisely, is one, it's just easier to throw the grain further in rather than just lying in the lump, otherwise it would be the same level there. But the other thing is also for all the dirt and dust that it actually would have been gone down the hill rather than going in with the grain. So that is my understanding anyway. Okay, so we'll head down, we'll head up to the miller's cottage. And watch your head on the way down, please.
So there you go, folks. So thanks for watching and God bless.